The NASCAR Wheel & Euro Series will continue its travels around Europe, and for the first time ever will head to Most in the Czech Republic on the 29th and 30th of June. With 4 races over the course of the weekend, there'll be plenty for the fans and the drivers to get excited about. The NASCAR Grand Prix of the Czech Republic also marks the halfway point of the 2019 season. Close racing and pure racing are guaranteed. But when the checkered flag falls, who will claim the win? Well, welcome back, everybody, to day 2 here at Autodrome Most in the Czech Republic for the first ever NASCAR Grand Prix here in Eastern Europe. This fantastic facility will host today round 8 of the 2019 NASCAR Wheel & Euro Series, and it will be the Elite 2 division cars that will be heading out onto the circuit very soon. This circuit that was first started to be constructed in the latter part of the 1970s. 1978 construction began, and over the course of 4 years, the circuit gradually began to take shape. And in 1983, it finally opened its doors. It's been the home for many years to the European Truck Grand Prix, but it's the first time we've had a visit here from the NASCAR Wheel & Euro Series. Beautiful conditions yesterday for racing. Beautiful conditions today for racing. The drivers, however, might argue otherwise, because it is scheduled to be 38 degrees centigrade today as an air temperature, let alone the track temperature, and let alone the temperature inside the cockpit of these 400 brake horsepower NASCARs that we will see heading onto the grid very, very shortly. This circuit is one of the longer circuits that we visit in the 2019 calendar of the NASCAR Wheel & Euro Series, and it is 2.624 miles long. That is over 4 kilometres, and the local crowd have been flocking in their thousands both yesterday and today to enjoy the racing. We'll have the first races of the Elite 2 division coming up shortly, then we'll be on to the Elite 1 division. Let's just show you what the track looks like as well. It's a sweeping track, really, with lots of flowing corners to it. Identified as 17 key points on the circuit. If you count even some of the smallest kink, it actually adds up to 21 corners around this circuit. And some of the key corners are shown on the graphic, round through part 6 and part 7, where you get the momentum out of there through the very fast sections at 8, 9 and 10, and up towards part number 16 is one of the overtaking opportunities. So we saw some great racing yesterday, but now we ought to have a quick look at what it's like to drive around this circuit. One of the stars that's on the grid this weekend, the only Czech driver that is represented, he's racing in both Elite 1 and in Elite 2, is Martin Dubek. So let's go on board a lap around the track.
Hello NASCAR fans, I am Martin Dubek, and let's watch my onboard video here in OM Max Motion NASCAR Show 2019 in Most. So let's start. The first corner is turn right. It's really difficult to find braking zone here. Second gear, brakes, turn right, jump over the curb, use the curb, full throttle, use the outside curb, little bit move on inside, full gas, third gear, fourth gear, brake really hard, second gear, jump over the curb, use inside curb, full throttle, jump over the curb again, full throttle, and brake really hard. Second gear, full throttle. This corner, it will be really nice for overtaking, full throttle, fourth gear, and we are going to fastest corner. Third gear, brakes, full throttle, use the curb. Now go up to the hill. Brakes. Second gear, use the curb inside. Move to inside. Use the curb, full throttle now. Third gear, use the curb. Full throttle, fourth gear. And we are going to the last corner. It'll be a really nice zone for overtaking. brake really hard. Second gear, use the curb, full throttle. Full throttle, third gear. Hello Ariana, full throttle, and here we are. Thank you NASCAR fans, I hope that you enjoy my onboard video, and I hope you will cross fingers for me.
Well, a great insight from Martin Dubeck there as to what it's like to drive one of these cars around the 2.6 or 4.2 kilometre circuit at Autodrome Most. And the driver that joins me in the commentary box for this one, a last-minute change of driver. So thank you to our super substitute for stepping in. Former Elite 2 champion Tomer Ferrando joins me in the commentary box. Tomer, our first visit to the Czech Republic. And what a circuit we've got at Autodrome Most.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's amazing to be here in Czech Republic. The track is amazing, really hard to handle, but you know, it's a whole track, really interesting about the technique and everything. So really happy to be there and to fight with the other on this amazing track.
Because of the layout of the track, as we've just seen from Martin Dubeck, you're always sort of either on the brakes or on the throttle or transitioning from one corner to another. So there's not a lot of rest period as a driver, which means that in these warm conditions, physically, it's a very, very tough weekend. Yes,
really hard because it's really hot in the car, and also it's a really hard track because you have to be focused all the way long, and you just have to. It's a little bit like the butterfly effect. A little mistake can be a huge consequence on the track because it's really fast. So you have to be focused all the way long, 100% during the race. So the thing that the guys does on the track and in the car with those temperature is really amazing because it's really hot and you have to be focused all the way long.
We'll talk about the Elite 2 cars are heading out onto grid, so we'll come to those in a few moments' time and bring you through the grid once they're all settled into position. But just looking back at yesterday and your race yesterday, you know, it's fair to say it's been a tough 2019 so far. Coming into this weekend, we saw you on the podium. Fantastic stuff for the first time this season, and a change of team also for this weekend. So, you know, the sort of a refresh of your season, almost sort of a restart and a reboot.
Yes, it's kind of a reboot. We had some problem with the last team, but it was great, and we decided to change and go to the car racing to work well on the future and to work on the for the playoff. So the thing was to be back on the podium, to be back on the front, and to battle with the guy that I was battling with in L2. So I'm really happy to be back with Stines, to be back with Akoli, and it's always great to be back and to fight for the win in this incredible Elite 1 championship.
And you know what the Elite 2 championship is all about, of course, because you were the champion in Elite 2 in 2017. So you know how tough it is, you know how competitive it is, but we look at the quality of the grid now in Elite 2, and it's even tougher than 2 years ago when you were in it.
Yes. You know, the two first drivers, Sorensen and Maggi, are really amazing on track. They battle so hard that here is the real battle. You can see in Brandsdash that the race done by Sorensen was amazing.
From the back of the grid, yeah.
Yes, so really amazing. But we can also see that Advet on the number 31 is quite amazing too, because he's coming from the Elite Club, and for his first season in Elite 2, it's quite amazing to see how he progresses and how he works on the car to be smooth and really intelligent during the race. We can see here that he started sixth.
Sixth, yeah, the yellow car with the black roof. Yeah. The Elite Club, there might be some people out there that don't know what the Elite Club is. Elite Club is sort of the level below Elite 2. It's sort of a regularity test almost, isn't it, for the drivers? Not at every round. They'll be back with us at Hockenheim, but it gives drivers a chance to practice being consistent with their laps. Yeah,
if you have a little bit of experience in racing, you can come and try the Elite Club to see how the car works, if you're efficient and regular on the track, and to see if you're confident with the car and you can go in Elite 2 or in Elite 1 as you want. So Advet has done a really great job. He won the championship last year, and he does a pretty great job. We can see also Castro doing a really great job on the track because he's a rookie and he does well also. So
Let's guide you through the grid then. Giorgio Maggi, yesterday's race winner, twice now a race winner in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, starts his Hendricks Motorsport Ford from pole position. Alongside him is a deck-swept DF1 Chevy of the Danish driver Lasse Sorensen. Row 2 of the grid is the American you were just talking about, Andre Castro for PK Carsport, and alongside is Martin Dubeck. Row 3 of the grid, Justin Kuntz and Advait Diodar. Row 4 is Vittorio Garelli and Eric de Donker ahead of Nicola Risitano and Ben Creanor on row 5. And row 6 is the American Myatt Snyder and Freddie Hemberg. On to row 7, Tom Krasinas, the Greek driver for Alex Caffey Racing, and Mirko Schultis, with row 8 being Michael Bleekie-Molen and Navor Talor. Next row of the grid is going to be... Somebody's missing there, aren't they? Ariana Casoli is missing off the graphic by the look of things. She is scheduled to start on row number 9 alongside Eric Clement. And then on the penultimate row of the grid, it's your car, Pierluigi Veronesi and Ian-Eric Varden. The back row of the grid, Jesse Vartinen and Alessandro Brigatti. Now, there are some cars in there that didn't have the luck yesterday and therefore didn't set a quick lap time yesterday, which means that lap times from yesterday give us the grid for today. So the likes of Pierluigi Veronesi will make progress in this one.
Yes, of course.
And Jesse Vartinen and Alessandro Brigatti didn't set a lap time yesterday. They both went off on the first lap. So for those drivers, they have the potential here to gain places. And on this grid, the driver that gains the most places gets an extra 4 championship points.
Yes, of course. You have to be focused during the race. We know that it's a long race and a long track. So you have opportunity to overtake, and you have to be calm in the car. We saw a little bit with Alan yesterday that he was really quick, and he tries to go fast and go back to the front really quick. And sometimes you can do mistakes. So you have to be confident, you have to be focused, and to be patient, because the races are really long. So be patient, and everything is going to be okay. So.
We were talking before we came on air about rookies. As I think I mentioned in commentary yesterday, 22 cars on the grid in Elite 2 this weekend, so a few less than we had at Brands Hatch, but 15 of the drivers are rookies. And when we say rookies, we're still talking about drivers that are in their first season in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, but that doesn't mean that they haven't got the likes of Giorgio Maggi and Vittorio Garelli, lots and lots and lots of experience in other formulae.
Yes, sometimes you can ask yourself why they are in Elite 2, because they have the potential to play the front in Elite 1. So you can see that there are really experienced young driver, and it's the series to make it rise. So you're here in Elite 2 to prove that you can go do in Elite 1, and I think they've done it pretty well at the beginning of the season.
You can see some of the Americana there that's arrived at the circuit as well. I think one of the other stories from yesterday is you looked at the Elite 1 race, and Loris Hazemans was scheduled to win that race for sure, but the engine blew up literally with 4 laps to go. In 2 hours, Hendricks Motorsports changed the engine on the number 50 Ford to allow Giorgio Maggi to start from pole position for the first time, and with that new engine, they won the race. Now, a little bird has told me this morning that not all still with that car was going to plan, because they had issues with the carburetor on that car. They swapped the carb on the number 50 overnight. It's still not solved the issue. So they've gone back to the original carb, and they're still not entirely sure as to what the pace is going to run like. But to change the engine in 2 hours and then win the race, what a performance by Hendricks.
It's a performance to change the engine in 2 hours. That's something amazing, to change the engine so fast between 2 races. I think most of the teams will change it in 4 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So doing it in 2 seconds, being able to do it and be on the front, win the race just after that, it's quite amazing. But we saw also that Sorensen was quick, and he could have won the race if it was longer. So
I think the reason he was catching Giorgio Maggi towards the end was because of that carburetor problem. We briefly saw one of the fans there in the grandstand area as well, wearing a buggity t-shirt as well. So happy retirement to Darrell Waltrip. So we wish him all of the very best. What a superstar and an ambassador for the sport and for NASCAR he's been over the years. So yeah, we wish you a very, very happy retirement, Darrell Waltrip, from all of your NASCAR friends here on this side of the Atlantic. So the fans, I've been really impressed. You know, it doesn't matter where you've been on the circuit. You know, there's a lot of area for the fans to spread out, but down the back of the garages after the race, it is absolutely crammed with fans wanting to get involved and access you guys as well, who have been signing things all day long and all weekend long for everybody. Really impressed with the fans that we've got here.
Yes, For the first event here in the Czech Republic, it's quite amazing to see how much people there is on track, and to see how much fun there is.
Quick question coming in off the internet before we sort of fully then focus on the Elite 2 race. Somebody just asking, where will you start on the Elite 1 grid later on?
I will start 11th tonight, this afternoon, and I think we can do something great because we're not that far from yesterday, from where we started. Yesterday we started 7th, so we are quite in the same pack as yesterday.
Pick a few off. You've got some quick drivers behind you, though. You've got 3-time champion Ander Villarino right behind you on the grid. Alan Day is behind that, and Formula 1 world champion Jacques Villeneuve is behind him. So you're on a busy part of the grid.
Yeah, but it's always interesting. If you look behind me, it's quick driver. If you look in front of me, it's great driver. And I think the level this year in Elite 1 has reached so high level that is incredible. To when you say one name in the Elite 1 is always a known name, so it's incredible to see that.
So the cars heading around the circuit are just getting the last bit of temperature into their controlled general tyres that they all run, and looking to just try and see as to what they might be able to do when the lights go out. Now remember, the Elite 2 races this year slightly shorter than Elite 1. It is a 14-lap race that is coming up. I haven't asked this question really over the course of this weekend. What's your favourite corner here? There are 21 corners to choose from. There's plenty. What's your favourite corner, Thomas?
I don't think I have a special corner. I was saying to my parents and all the people in the team that I can't say that I really like the track, because it's so difficult on how you have to take the corners and how to change the gears, and little mistake can be a big problem. It's always hard to accept for a driver. So I would say that the best one would be the parts of turn 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 before the big straights.
That's sort of that wiggly part before the hairpin, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's the most technical or most difficult corner on circuit to get right?
I would say the number 15, the one under the bridge, because you have the hill who try to catch you on the grass, so you have to be really focused during the race. With old tires, you could lose the car and go to the gravel, so you have to be really careful and focused.
I thought you might say either turn 15 or turn 17, because I think that's where we've seen more people making mistakes. So neat 2x2 order. The black car with the Dutch stripes, the flag down the centre of it, is Giorgio Maggi, the Swiss driver, in his Ford for Hendricks Motorsport that sits there on the front row of the grid. Alongside him is the deck-swept Chevy in the hands of the Danish driver Lasse Sorensen. Row 2 of the grid, the American Andre Castro for PK Carsport with his Chevy, and to his left-hand side, it's another Ford. It's Martin Dubeck at his home NASCAR Grand Prix. Wouldn't it be great to see him on the podium at his home event, the first ever Czech Grand Prix this weekend? And round 8 of the 2019 Elite 1 Championship for the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series is about to go green, so buckle up everybody. Here we go for 14 laps of Elite 2 up towards the start-finish line. The lights go out and it's front row start matching each other, but of course Lasse Sorensen is on the outside line coming up towards the chicane at turns number 1 and turn number 2, very much modelled on the first couple of corners at Monza. Onto the brakes.
3 wide just over here, or they block.
Oh, they are. There's a spin. Advent Dioda is turned around. It all went beautifully well at the start of the race yesterday for Elite 2. There's contact further back. Andre Castro is pushed into the gravel, and I have a feeling that was one of the Dexwex cars, wasn't it, that made contact with him there. So the front two have got away. Lasse Sorensen leads the race. Giorgio Maggi in second, and into the gravel, Andre Castro. He's going nowhere, is he?
No. I think he can go out without help, so I think the race is finished for him.
It's finished for him. He might get dragged out, but surely this may well bring about a full course caution very early on in the race. Martin Dubeck at the wheel of the number 7 car is running well at this stage, and that will put him into third position, his home NASCAR Grand Prix. The Czech driver is in a potential podium, but we are very, very early on in the race, and we may possibly cover that under localised caution. We may have to go full caution.
And we saw that Sorensen take the advantage of the start. So we're gonna see how he's gonna manage the race and how he's gonna handle Maggi behind him, because he's a really fast driver. So we're gonna see how he's gonna work.
So here they come. Giorgio Maggi looking to try and attack on the run up towards turn number 20. He's on the outside line, takes a wider line in. Is he going to try and cut back on the exit? Lasse Sorensen for sure will have that covered off if needs be, but it is Chevy from Ford at this stage. Decksweck DF1 from Hendricks Motorsport. The sun glints off the windscreen of the car.
I think he's going to try something here. Because he's faster in the straight, so maybe he's going to try something or...
Seems as though he's losing out in a straight line. They're heading up towards a localised yellow, so they've got to back off anyway. And as they now turn their way through there, I think are we going full course caution? Looks as though they've backed off, doesn't it? They've certainly backed off through the localised yellows, but then they get their foot back down again as they come out of it. So yeah, just localised yellows for the moment.
Yes, I think it's going to stay like this for the moment. If they can move the car without being dangerous, they will now put the safety car.
So Lasse Sorensen, already 3 times a race winner, has yet to finish off the podium. He really has made a significant impression since joining the NASCAR Wheel in Euro Series. He missed the first couple of races at Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Spain, just outside of Valencia. He was a winner in his first ever NASCAR Wheel in Euro Series race, but he is being hounded by Giorgio Maggi. The two of them have got the gap between themselves and Martin Dubeck, who sits there in 3rd position. And as they now thread their way up towards turn number 20, onto the brakes, in towards the right-hander, it's still the Dane from the Swiss driver. It's a Czech that's there in 3rd position. 4th at the moment is the Italian Vittorio Garelli for PK Car Sports, sitting there in 4th place. And he's another one of these rookies, rookie in this championship, but he's raced in GP2, he's raced in GP3, he was an Auto GP champion some years ago.
Yes, so he can do something on Dubeck, so he has to be careful about what happens behind him. And I think the 2 first drivers have to be careful, because if they battle too much, they're going to lose time, and Dubeck will come back. And maybe it's going to be interesting if they battle a lot.
So the localised yellows for the moment, leading the race, and of course the leading rookie we've got is Lasse Sorensen at this stage, who is going to be leading the Legend Trophy, which is for drivers who are bronze and for drivers who are 40 years and over that enter the Elite 2 Championship. That is for the moment going to be Michael Pleeky-Molen, I would have thought, who is just outside of the top 6 at this stage, down in 8th position at the wheel of the number 69 family-run car in reality.
And Schneider has done a great comeback, because he started 11th and is now 6th, so maybe we can watch him during the race to see how he goes and maybe how he comes back to the front, because he's a great driver. We saw in Valencia and also on the other track that he's a fast driver, so he can do some great things.
He's a very quick driver, the American, and it's great to have him and Andre Castro. We've seen Eric Figueres also in this championship, another American. Bobby Labonte has come in this year again at Valencia. We've seen Jennifer Jo Cobb as well, so there's a few have wandered over this side of the Atlantic to race. And of course Myatt Snyder finished it was 10th, wasn't it, at Gateway just last weekend in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
Yeah, I think yes. So it's interesting to see that even when you come from the US, you can be fast on road course and on road track. So
be interesting.
We saw that we have to be an experienced driver to drive here, because there is so much different point that you have to be focused on, and Schneider is.
Let's have a quick look at the replay. The contact, Advactione was tipped into a spin, largely because everybody was going for the same piece of tarmac, wasn't it? So I think that there probably wasn't a great deal that Martin Dubeck could do about it. And
I think it's come from the contact with the 99.
Yeah.
Even on the first corner, so it was coming from the back, and they can't even notice that. So it's hard to avoid this type of crash.
Yeah, that was Justin Kuntz, wasn't it? The German tagging into the spin Andre Castro, but they were all so close together with 22 cars trying to file into that chicane. Thankfully, it was all just covered by localised yellow at this stage. However, it would appear that for number 99, Justin Kuntz, a drive-through penalty for that contact, which doesn't surprise me in that respect. There was no malice in it. It wasn't intentional, but but contact was made.
You know, when you on the start, it's really hard to find your way to brakes on the right time, because it's a slow corner and you all together, and it's slowed down a lot. So you have to be careful. And when you're behind, for example, yesterday I took a big bump during the start, but it's part of the start. You have to deal with the fact that you can be pushed, and you have to be careful on the outside.
I suppose the difficult thing at turn one is particularly the first run up to it, cold tyres, dirty part of the circuit, as by the look of things that is Ben Creanor looking to slot himself at the inside of Michael Bleaky-Molen, but I think on the way out of the corner they may well have reversed it, and look at the swabble for the lead of the race. It is Giorgio Maggi now really putting Lasse Sorensen under attack for the lead of this race. Didn't make it through though.
They're doing well in the front. The two first drivers are really great. They don't battle too much, so they don't lose too much time on the third one. But I think if they start racing right now and battling right now, it's going to be hard for the other and for them to stay on the front.
So late on the brakes was Giorgio Maggi there. I was amazed how late he was trying to brake, and not surprising, he just snatched a brake there, the unloaded wheel just locking up very briefly, so he might have gained going into the corner, but it's all about momentum coming off the corners here, and he's lost time as a result.
Yes, and as I said just before, it's the butterfly effect. So the problem he had here, we're going to see that Sorensen is going to do a big gap between them. But I know that Maggi is a great driver, so he will come back, and maybe we're going to see another fight during the race.
They had question marks over the carburettor on that car playing up. Is there anything obvious looking at the car on the track? It doesn't seem to be losing out anywhere, really.
Yes, but the car looks great, and we know that Eisman has done a really great job yesterday, and they have a great car, and the great drivers. So, see. He almost takes all the gap back, so he does a great job on the car, and I think he's faster than Sorensen for now. So we have to be careful on the battle, and they can do something great for the show and for the fans.
The fans will be enjoying this one. They'll also be cheering on Martin Dubec, who still for the moment clings on to third position, despite the fact that Vittorio Garelli is ever closing on him by the look of things. But the front two have really got away now. Here they come, back over the start-finish line. Another lap chalked into the book. Lasse Sorensen, who was like fifth in the championship standings coming into this weekend, bearing in mind he lost potentially the best part of 80 points as he didn't appear for the first two races at Valencia, has done a staggering job. He was going to race in both Elite 1 and Elite 2 this weekend, but he is now so focused on Elite 2. He doesn't want to risk the car in Elite 1, meaning he can't start in Elite 2. Contact, or was that dust in the distance further back? So that may well be Martin Dubec. And have we had the shuffle of the order? Looks as though we have, haven't we? Yeah, it looks as though Vittorio Garelli is through.
Yes, I think he passed. Maybe Martin has done a mistake in the first corner, and the number 11 go through and take the place. So there is so much battle during the race. It's really entertaining to see it, and to see how the drivers are in the race, and they battle with a lot of fair play.
Yeah, I think it was probably just a run through the gravel, maybe, was it, for Martin? He's got the place back, though, by the look of things. He is still ahead at this stage. So, all right, it must have been, by the look of it, I think it was Vittorio Garelli made the mistake at the chicane we're hearing, shortcut across it. All we saw was the dust in the distance.
Okay, that's what we saw.
And now Garelli's being told to give the place back again as he cut the track.
Yes.
So
we are going to see again a battle between those two, because they are quite in the same speed for now, and it's going to be interesting.
Here comes Maggi. He seems to be so quick through the middle sector, and Giorgio Maggi now really running bumper to bumper. Look how close that is for the lead of the race. Lasse Sorensen has got his work cut out here. Giorgio Maggi, as we saw yesterday, the middle part of the track is where Hendricks Motorsport this weekend have really nailed the setup of the car.
And we can see that Sorensen is closing the door, so it's going to be hard for Maggi to overtake. Here it's really hard to overtake on the outside, because you take risk and you can block the wheel and be on the grass really quick. So, and when you go to the gravel, you have to know that you can go out without help. So if you touch the gravel and you're stuck in the gravel, you lose the race. So you have to be really careful on how you overtake and how you focus when you try to overtake. And we can see that the car of Sorensen is moving a lot.
Yeah, just a tenth of a second between the pair of them. Martin Dubec still in third, Vittorio Garelli in fourth, Nicholas Risitano in fifth, Mike Snyder in sixth place, and it's Freddie Hemberg from Michael Bleaky-Molen, Nave Talor, and Ben Creanor inside the top 10, the 16-year-old, on for potentially a top 10 finish. There are localised yellows, we gather, up at the penultimate corner as well, turn number 20, as we hit the half-distance point in this race. There's been nothing to choose all race long between Lassi Sorensen and Giorgio Maggi. I agree with what you said a few laps ago. Giorgio Maggi has got the quicker car. He just can't find his way past, can he, the Dane?
It's really hard to overtake here. So you have to be patient. You know, we just half of the race, and you have to be patient. You can overtake on the last lap. You can do an intelligent move, and you have to think of a smart move. If you do something crazy, you're going to break the car, you're going to break everything, you're going to lose the race and maybe the championship. So it happens a lot to me when I was in Elite 2. You're young, you're trying to win the race really quick in the race, and you do the mistakes. So you have to be focused on that and to take time.
You say you're young, you're still young now, you're only 21, Thomas. You've just been doing this for quite some time. Another good recovery drive, actually. We saw him spin at the first chicane. Advait Dioda tumbled to the very back of the field. He's up to 13th already. That's a good recovery drive for the Indian.
Yes, and as I said at the beginning, he comes from the Elite Club, and he does so much improvement during the race. And he's smooth behind the wheel, the steering wheel. And he's a great driver, cool in the paddock. If you meet him, he's really nice to speak with, and really nice driver. I'm really happy to be the teammate of this guy.
He's always got a smile on his face, as Advait Dioda. Look at this fight that's going on for 8th, 9th and 10th position we were just picking up on briefly. We're now back to the fight for 3rd, 4th and 5th place. Martin Dubeck.
He take the place back because the 11 give it to him, and he has made a gap. So we're going to see maybe a fight between Risitano and Girelli.
In these warm conditions now, with over half of this race gone, do the tyres start to drop off? I know some of it will be to do with the tyre pressures you've put in at the very beginning, but do the tyres drop off to a degree?
You know, the car are really hard to handle when you're with I don't know. It's really hard to handle when you have passed more than the half of the race. You have to be safe with your tires in the first part and to be sure that you can do everything at the end. So they are pushing hard with the car right now to battle, and maybe we're gonna see the difference of fresh tires and not at the end of the race. We can check off the lap time, but the people who save the tires will be faster at the end.
Yeah, it's a case also for the likes of Giorgio Maggi, is that in these warm conditions you push for a few laps. That may well then just mean that the tyres get that little bit warmer and come out of the sweet spot. Also, he's sitting in the slipstream of Lassi Sorensen, so the engine temperatures will build as you're not getting the airflow through. So you charge for a few laps. Problems, Martin Dubeck. Shortcut the chicane, I think, there, and might have a problem. That's him already down into 7th place, and that is an enormous shame for the Czech driver. It was so meant to be, wasn't it, him on the podium? It now looks as though it's not meant to be.
He was 3rd, really great with the car. He was making a gap with Girelli, so it's really a shame to lose the control of the car and to have mechanical problem.
That's such a shame for Martin Dubeck.
We have to take into account that in the second part, after the 2 first corner, the spotter can't help you on the track. So you have to work a lot with your mirrors. And for Sorensen, for example, he has Maggi in his mirror. So he has to be really careful on the mirror, and it's really hard to be efficient when you look to the mirror. So at the end of the track, the spotter can help you, and you can manage how to drive with your mirror just on the part of the circuit that you need.
Yeah.
It's really important to look in front.
Yeah, there's only half of the circuit the spotters can see. They can see turns 1 and 2, and then they pick the cars back up at turn 15 onwards. So other than that, the driver's on his own for a good chunk of the circuit. Looks as though now Lassi Sorensen is now was beginning to gap Giorgio Maggi, but looks like Giorgio Maggi's on the attack again.
It's like, as I said, I think at the beginning of the race he was saving tires, and now that Maggi has done a huge effort to come back, he put so hard in the tire that they are completely finished. Sorensen can be great with the new tire, the fresh tires, and maybe to do the gap and win the race.
It looks as though there's another drive-through penalty. This time it is for number 88, Eric Clermont, who's made a few mistakes over the course of this weekend. This time it's contact with number 70, which is the Mitsubishi Motors car of the German driver Mirko Schurtis. Here we see now Myatt Snyder, as a result of those problems for Martin Dubeck, the American at the wheel of the Racing Engineering number 48 Ford, now climbs up into 5th position. So he has been working his way beautifully up through the order. I'm going to let you do that one.
Yeah.
Who's the next driver you've just picked out that's made progress there?
Yeah, and I'm really happy with my teammate because he has done so much great comeback. He's 10th, and we can see with the gap that he's really close to the number 33. So he can come back and battle for to be back on the on the top 5.
Yeah, up to 10th for Pierluigi Veronese.
You know, when we talk outside the track, and he told me that his goal is to be in the top 10. So he has to. He's completely in the top. So.
Just to confirm that we saw Martin Dubeck slowing out on circuit, dropping down through the order. He has brought the number 7 car into pit lane. Here is the fine. Now that's a change of position, isn't it? Because Michael Bleekemolen, in fact, no, he's retired out on circuit. So it's a shame for him.
It's really hard to have a mechanical problem on your on-time race. So I think he overtake Pierluigi overtake the 12. So he took 1 place, and he's coming back. So really interesting to see the race. I think this is a great battle to watch.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it's Ben Creanor that's at the front of that pack now in 7th position. Remember, he only got his racing licence in March of this year. Oh, goes very sideways, heading in towards the chicane. Somehow, despite the fact the car was sideways, he got back off the brakes to straighten it up.
This chicane slowed down you a lot. So he might lose 2 or 3 places, but you have to be careful because he's going to protect the place. So you have to be really careful when you try to overtake here.
He's only lost the 1 for the moment to Michael Bleekemolen, the number 69 car through in the hands of the ex-Formula 1 driver from the 1970s, Ben Creanor. Michael Bleekemolen is the oldest driver we've got in the field. Ben Creanor is the youngest driver we've got in the field. So 69 years of age versus 16 years of age, and the youngsters coming at him, whilst your car, the 27 in the hands of Pierluigi Veronese, is right behind. Fantastic stuff, isn't it?
Yes. It's amazing to see how they battle at each level on the race, and here it's great for Pierluigi because he was really disappointed with the problem he had during the restart yesterday, and yeah, it's great to see him back on the track and to fight.
He said to me in your sort of warning earlier on that he was hoping for a better day today. He said just motor racing, some days just aren't meant to be, but today he wanted to push hard.
You know, Pierluigi learned a lot with the car racing because they help us a lot to improve ourselves. We have the chance to work with Alan, so it's really great to have the data to work on and to improve ourselves. So car racing is doing a really great job on our car, and we are really happy to work with them.
They have the best coffee I've found in the paddock so far as well.
Yeah.
It looks as though another place gained up to 10th now will come out by Dioda. He's got himself ahead of Navetalo that time through, so the yellow Cal Racing Chevy with the black roof has managed to get itself ahead of the Israeli Navetalo.
So Dioda is coming back. See, he had the problem at the beginning, and now he's back. So he's doing a really great job.
He's been great all year, hasn't he? He was lying 3rd in the championship standings coming into this weekend.
Yes.
Only with 1 podium, but he's been consistent all of the time, and having the problem, forgetting about it, pushing hard. You know, he's now going to be up at 2.
I think if you look at the standing in Elite 1, it's Tines, which is in first position, and he never won a race.
Yeah.
So being consistent is really important. Oh my God!
Oh, the door was always going to close, wasn't it? And contact with Pierluigi Veronese as Michael Bleekemolen is spun around, and poor old Pierluigi Veronese couldn't go anywhere, could he?
Oh man, that's a shame.
That is a shame, and Ben Creanor was looking to try and gain the place, but the door was always surely going to close. What it has done is it's allowed Advac Dioda to gain another maybe 2 or 3 places there. So. That may well put him up into 8th position now at the end of this lap, but he's also struggling now, making a mistake.
Yes, I told you that this one was really hard to handle, and when you're on the race and you see that you won 3 places in one corner, it's amazing.
drive-through penalty for car number 33, Ben Creanor, so he has been deemed to be the culprit in that incident. And yeah, my view was that, yeah, it was his fault. He tried to put the nose up the inside, realised the door was going to close. Just talk us through this one, Tomer.
Yeah, it's really hard to overtake here, and it was a little bit risky. He was too far behind, and we can see that with this contact, you can't go anywhere. It's really hard to do so.
But what is disappointment for the likes of Pierluigi Veronese, Ben Creanor and
yes.
Michael Bleekie-Molen. It's good for Nave Talor and also for Advait Dioda. So looks as though they have gained a couple of places. The race leaders are about to head on to their very final lap shortly, and there's not a lot still, first and second place. Lasse Sorensen still continuing to lead the race. Giorgio Maggi in second place. They're separated by just 0.3 of a second, but they've got 10 seconds now between themselves.
Yes,
and the car in
they are
third.
so fast. We saw it in the qualifying that they were so fast, and Sorensen has done the perfect race. He take the advantage really quick in the race and managed to let Maggi behind him. So he has done a really great job, and he's a great driver. Essentially, he has done a really great job since the beginning of the season. So he deserved the race today, and yesterday was deserved too. So.
Yeah, so it will be a win for Giorgio Maggi and a win for Lasse Sorensen, surely, if things stay the way they are at the moment. But they are about to head on to yet another lap, and Lasse Sorensen has just enough gap between himself and Giorgio Maggi. Maggi closes up into the braking area. They've got the Racing Engineering Ford of Eric Clermont just up the road as well that could come into the mix on this final lap. Maggi's pushing hard, isn't he?
Yes. And I think if Sorensen continue to close door, it's going to be really hard at the end of the turn of the lap, because you lose so much time closing doors that you take risk when you close door. And we saw that he was faster than Maggi, so maybe it could be interesting to do your line and not focus on what happened behind you.
So there's about a mile and a half to go probably in this final lap of the weekend for the Elite 2 division. We'll see the Elite 1 cars out later on, but Lasse Sorensen, is he on course for win number 4 of the season? Could Giorgio Maggi do something and grab his third win of the season? Eric Clermont and the lapped car is just up the road still as they head in towards the braking area for what's his turn number 15, isn't it? The difficult corner underneath the bridge up towards 16, in towards 17. They should work their way past Eric Clermont, I would have thought, coming out of turn number 17. So he moves neatly out of the way, doesn't get involved. Sensible driving there.
Yes. It's good to see that driver like this, you listen to their spotter. And I think no, he's too far. I think Sorensen will win the race here. Unless
Giorgio Maggi has got something special up his sleeve. It looks like Sorensen is on for win number 4.
It's a win for Sorensen, yes. He has done an amazing race.
Yeah, an amazing race, an amazing season really for Lasse Sorensen. That means that he's finished on the podium in every race so far this year. He takes the win. Giorgio Maggi pushing hard towards the very end
of a second, yes.
That is
close.
That is very close. We await the arrival of Vittorio Garelli over the start-finish line. He is about to go through now, so Garelli finishes in third place. Advait Dioda, is that him in
No,
place?
It's Risitano.
This is Risitano, finishes in 4th place, and then we wait the arrival of the next car through, which is going to be Matt Schneider in 5th place. Freddie Hemberg should come through for Graf Racing to complete the top 6.
And
there he goes now. And Advait Dioda from a spin at the first corner to the very back of the grid and back to 7th place. That's not a bad performance, is it? Nave Talor comes through and finishes in 8th place, but the top step of the podium, not only the overall win, but also the rookie win, goes the way of Lasse Sorensen. And how many times this year, Tomer Ferrando, have we seen the top 3 overall also be the top 3 rookies as well? And again, it's happened here, isn't it? Top 3 overall, top 3 rookies, going to show the quality of new drivers coming into Elite 2 this year.
Yeah, that's amazing to see the experience of so much drivers. So.
And we ought to say the win in the Legend Trophy for drivers 40 years and over that enter the Elite 2 Championship goes the way for the 3rd time this season now of Ian-Eric Varden. Michael Bleekie-Molen had been leading it for a long time, but the spin for him cost him a win in the end, unfortunately, in the Legend Trophy. A great race. I mean, I've got to say, Sorensen and Maggi appear to me, when I've seen them racing, to be very quick, but also very fair drivers as well.
Yes, they are clean drivers because they come from the GT, And in GT, if you have contact, you're going to break the cars.
Aero,
yes.
yeah.
So they were fair, and that's always good to see close racing without touching and everything. So really great to see those races with clean races. It would be even better if they battled a little bit more for the show and everything, but they've done a really great job. We saw at one time that he was really close, Maggi was really close to Sorensen, but they didn't touch, and that's what we like as a driver.
So Giorgio Maggi finishes second today, but we haven't done the maths as yet. He'll still be the championship leader. Vittorio Gorelli finishes third today. He was second coming into this weekend. And as for Lasse Sorensen, well, he was fifth coming into the weekend, but a second and a first will certainly promote him up through the order. He will leapfrog ahead of your teammate, Pierluigi Veronesi, won't he, this weekend?
And I don't know if he's going to go over Deodar, so I don't know if Sorensen is going to be third at the end of the weekend.
He'll certainly be fourth,
yes.
Could well be third, but for a driver who missed the first two races,
yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's amazing.
So the number 66 Deck Sweat DF1 Chevy heads to victory lane for the first time this weekend here at Autodrome Most, for the fourth time this season in the hands of the Danish driver, who amazingly a few years ago was racing in Formula 4, so single-seaters for the 22-year-old Dane. He was champion in the French Formula 4 Championship back in 2014, but he's 6'4" now. You'd wonder how he ever got into a single-seater, but as he said at the time, he was quite a slight guy. He's now 6'4" and a big guy, isn't he? Big fella.
I don't know how he gets in the car. Essentially, when you're that high, that tall, I don't know how you go.
So let's have a look at the highlights. They went up towards turn one, too much contact, a spin for Avot Dioda, who spun to the very back of the field in turn one, but on the way out of turn two there was contact between Justin Kuntz, which pitched into the gravel trap the American Andre Castro. The race continued under localised yellow flags, with Castro going nowhere, and after a good result yesterday it was disappointment today. The number 54 Cal Racing Chevy, though, in the hands of the Indian driver Advait Dioda, worked his way up through the order to finish well inside the top 10. So it is victory for Lasse Sorensen. Big embrace for the team. And as we look back at what he managed to do, he held off Giorgio Maggi for a huge chunk of the race. Despite the pressure that continued to build, Lasse Sorensen managed to come out on top for the fourth time this season in the Elite 2 division. That will be a huge delight for the very likeable Dane. Great battles going on down through the order. Michael Bleekie-Molen at the wheel of the 69 Ford has a busy race, was being put under pressure by the 16-year-old Scott Ben Creanor, who managed to squeeze his way through at one point with a brave overtaking manoeuvre, whilst at the front of the field the drivers were still busy going wheel to wheel. Giorgio Maggi tried a couple of times on the brakes up towards turn one, wasn't to be, and as the squabbles continued further down through the order, we also saw a great fight going on between Mirko Schultes and Eric Clermont, which ultimately resulted in some contact. The Israeli driver for Solaris Motorsport, Navai Tala, was then busy squabbling away with Michael Bleekie-Molen, whilst your man, number 27, Pierluigi Veronesi, tried to get in on the mix as well. Huge disappointment and retirement for local star, the Czech driver Martin Dubek, who ended his final Elite 2 race with a retirement. And as for Ben Creanor, well, a snatch of the brakes sideways at turn number one, shortcut the chicane, just ultimately lost the one spot back to Michael Bleekie-Molen, which he was hugely keen to try and get back. He worked his way back onto the circuit behind Michael Bleekie-Molen, ahead of Pierluigi Veronesi, and the squabble still continued until Creanor outbraked himself heading up in towards turn number 15, pitched the number 33 up the inside of the 69, spun around Michael Bleekie-Molen, and unfortunately Pierluigi Veronesi got involved. It allowed, however, Advait Dioda to gain a couple of places as a result of the problems for the cars that lay ahead. Lasse Sorensen caught some traffic towards the end of the race. Eric Clermont, though, the Frenchman at the wheel of his racing engineering car, stayed neatly out of the way and on the charge to the line. Lasse Sorensen came through to win.
6 races, 4th win. Just talk us through the race. It was an amazing battle with Giorgio Maggi.
Yeah, it was a hard race. It got a good start and could catch him on the outside into T1. But then it looks like we had some different pace, different places on the track. I was very good in sector 1 and start of sector 2, and he was really good in sector 3. So it was hard to manage everything, but I think I had pretty everything under control. So I'm super happy for the whole team again and my sponsor back home. 4th win now in the 6th race. That's amazing.
Right, congratulations, your winner, Lasse Sørensen.
Great to hear from Lasse Sørensen. Apologies, we just clipped the front end of the interview there just as the highlights were finishing. Martin Dubek's car being winched away. Big disappointment for him, but for the gentle giant Lasse Sørensen, it's another great weekend, isn't it, for him and the team as well?
Yes, of course. They do a really great job. I know the engineer who works with him, and he's a great guy, and he does a great job. So we can see that the car is efficient, and it's great for them.
Let's just guide you through the results then. At number 66, Lasse Sørensen claims the win from Giorgio Maggi, who will retain the championship lead. Vittorio Garelli finishes in 3rd place with Valencia winner Nicolas Risitano in 4th place. Myatt Snyder, the American, came through for Racing Engineering in his Ford in 5th place, ahead of Freddie Hemberg, the Scandinavian, in 6th place. Advoc Dioda, despite the spin at turn number 1, what a recovery drive to 7th place. Nave Talar, there in 8th place, ahead of Alessandro Brigatti, Justin Kuntz, Jesse Vartianen, and the Legend Trophy winner Ian Eric Varden, that finished in 12th place. 13th, despite the spin, was Michael Bleekie-Molen. Mirko Schultes was in 14th, so that's in 13th and 14th, 2nd and 3rd of the Legend Trophy drivers home. Drive-through penalties saw Ben Creanor finishes in 15th place with Pierluigi Veronese, all of the hard work undone, finishing in 16th place. 17th was Eric Clermont ahead of Andre Castro, and then Martin Dubek, Tom Krasinas, Eric de Donker all managed to retire in that particular race. So disappointment for some drivers, delight for others. The fans have enjoyed it, and we're going to do it all again later on with Elite One, Thomas. Okay,
it was nice to be there. Really great race. I think the fans was in presence of a great show, and that was a great race. Sørensen has done an amazing race. Maggi was fair. And that was great to see the battle with the guys behind.
And hopefully it won't be the last I see of you today, because, of course, we will need to catch up with the top 3 and do some short interviews with them, which I did with you yesterday, so you finished in 3rd.
Yes, I'm going to try everything to be on the podium today, too, and to do the interview with you, because he missed me a lot to be on the podium. It's been 2 years that I left LE2, and I've never been on the podium, never again. So it's really nice to be back on the podium, and I'm going to do everything to go on the podium with maybe Alan in the first place.
Well, thank you for joining me in the commentary box. Thank you for stepping in at the last moment as well, and all the very best for your Elite One race later on today, Thomas.
Well, that's fine. It's always a pleasure to be here and to comment the race with you.
Thank you very much indeed. There we go, Thomas Ferrando. We wish him all of the very best for later on. That is the Elite One driver, Thomas Ferrando, and of course the 2017 Elite 2 champion as well. But that's it for the moment here from Autodrome Most. We've got one more NASCAR Whelen Euro Series race to come up later on for the Elite 1 division. If you're joining us in Central Europe, then we go live with the stream at 14:25 Central European summertime. If you've got up nice and early in America to watch this race, then we really, really appreciate you setting your alarm clock very early in the morning to come and join us. But go back to bed for a few hours and set it for 8:25 a.m. Eastern summertime in the US for our final race of the weekend here for the first ever Czech Grand Prix at Autodrome Most in the Czech Republic. That's all for the moment. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you again later on. Goodbye. Good morning and welcome to Autodromo di Franciacorta. To round 6 of the 2000. Welcome to Circuit Solder for the final round. The lights go out, the green flag flies. It's all very tight up towards turn 1. Oh, it's close and there's contact. They're side by side. When the checkered flag falls and the race is done, there's always time for celebrations.